Today, let's speak about another special genre of metal, the power metal. Now, power metal, it has also its categories. For example, what we are calling as true heavy metal or true metal is a kind of power metal. I spoke about that also in the past. If epic metal or a little bit of epic metal is also a kind of power metal, and so on and so on and so on. But if we are speaking about power metal, we have for example, two different categories. The American power metal, that is even more known by the name US old school metal, heavy metal. And we have from the other side the German and the European power metal, that also from it we have the Euro power, and etc. and etc. And so today I will speak about my favorite albums of all these kinds of power metal. And we have also the old school and the new school, the modern bands. So let's start from the old school bands of power metal, and of course many people they are speaking about and they are saying that the fathers of power metal, okay, maybe the forefathers we can find also the first roots of power metal inside Iron Maiden. Okay, I can understand that by songs like and albums like Peace of Mind and Power Slave and Somewhere in Time. Okay, but the real fathers of power metal is of course Helloween, with their second and third albums, Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 and Part 2. For me, the favorite one is of course the Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1. And the Euro power also starts from the Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2, especially. Another very, very favorite band from Germany, is Running Wild. Yeah, the fathers of the pirate metal. And I love most of their albums, but Death or Glory is one of their masterpieces. And now I'm continue a little bit with the American style of power metal, or the US power metal of the old school. Jack Painter, if I'm saying that in the right way, pronounced in the right way. Ample Destruction. This is also an album that is very difficult to find it, but is very, very special. Every album of this band is very special. Riot, and their album Thundersteel. Crimson Glory, from the US also, and the second album Transcendence, very well and very good album. Hellstar from Texas, and I prefer their album Nosferatu. Heir Apparent. Okay, if I'm not wrong, they have two albums. The second album is even more progressive, but the first album of them, Grateful Inheritance. This is not the original cover of the album, but this I find. Savatage, also from the United States, and I prefer Hall of the Mountain King. And now an album and a band that is not exactly power metal, okay, but from Denmark, but also its music is close to power metal. Some people they will put it even under the black metal because of its influence not the musical influence, even more the stylistic influence. Merciful Fate of King Diamond, yes, and their first album, Melissa. An EP, not exactly the first album, the first EP of Queensryche. Afterwards they became masters of progressive metal, but their first EP is so good, and it's even more power metal than progressive metal. And another also masterpiece of power metal from a progressive metal band, Fate's Warning, and their album Awaken the Guardian. And now I'm coming to more, let's say, modern bands of power metal. First of all, Gravedigger from Germany. Gravedigger, okay, Gravedigger always they were between heavy and power metal. And in another video I spoke about their album Rebellion. It's even more epic metal. But this album, one before the Rebellion, Heart of Darkness, it's so good. And if also we speak about power metal or heavy power metal from United States, of course we have to remember Iced Earth. Iced Earth, every album of them in the beginning was great, but here I will bring the Dark Saga. That for me is the album that is especially even more power metal than heavy metal. And I'm continue with Gamma Ray. Of course, Gamma Ray and their album Land of the Free, their third album. That is the continue. This is in reality what it had to be Helloween in the beginning. Maybe it's also, let's say, the straight way from the Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 and Part 2, and this album, especially Part 1, this album continues the way of the Keeper of Seven Keys of Part 1 of Helloween. Gamma Ray, Land of the Free. Conception, okay, their album Parallel Minds, also, they are a little bit progressive, a little bit power. I prefer Conception even more from Camelot afterwards. And so let's go to another band that many people spoke about them, that they are the new Helloween in the years of 90s. Stratovarius from Finland, Sweden. Okay, for me their best album is the album Episode. Yes, I know many people prefer the Visions, other people prefer For Dimension, and etc. Dream Space, but I prefer Episode. And of course now I will speak about Blind Guardian. Blind Guardian from Germany. They started like a speed power metal band. In the beginning also they were influenced by Helloween, especially from the first Helloween album, Walls of Jericho. And for me their masterpiece is Imaginations from the Other Side. Hammerfall from Sweden, and their first album, the best album of them, Glory to the Brave. Okay, people thought that they are a new wave of true heavy metal, but they were even more power metal than heavy metal. Also, they made inside a cover, Child of the Damned, of Warlord. Or Warlord also we can put them inside this category of power metal, but I prefer to put them inside epic metal more than power metal. Another German band of power metal in the beginning, Edguy. Okay, and there I think so that is the third album or the second album of them, a Vainglory Opera. After the fifth album, they started to be even more heavy or hard rock, but here they are excellent power metal. I'm continue with one of the best power metal of the last time, but they put out only 2 albums, and afterwards the band was dismissed, lost Horizon, and their first album, Awakening the World. The first album, the second album, also excellent power metal. And now, Synergy. Okay, Synergy today they are not a band, also a band that was a little bit from Finland. Yeah, here we have also Laiho from Children of Bodom. We have also members of In Flames. The singer, she was also inside the black metal scene. Synergy, Beware the Heavens, their first album. Primal Fear from Germany. Primal Fear with the singer of Gamma Ray in the beginning, and their first album also Primal Fear. Then continue until now. Okay, they are very influenced by Judas Priest, but they're excellent power metal, heavy power metal. Let's say influenced from Judas Priest. And now with another also 3 bands. Marauder. They are from Greece, and they're excellent power metal also. And their album about the Greek Revolution against the Ottomans, the Ottoman Empire. Here it is. They have their album 1821, the year that the Greek Revolution started against the Ottoman Empire. Their second also song is The Greek Revolution Begins. And now, a power metal band that everyone today knows them. We started to know them in these years, a little bit of metal fans knew them. From Sweden, Sabaton, yeah, and their first album, Primo Victoria. For me, I like Sabaton, but I prefer their first 2 albums, and their first album is a killer. And last and not least, a band from Poland. Okay, let's say between power and heavy metal, Crystal Viper, and here I prefer the album Crimen Excepta, but I prefer everything from them. This is about the power metal scene. I started when I was in the beginning, I was a metalhead, a beginner metalhead. I was even more inside the power metal. Today, a little bit not. I am even more inside speed and thrash and epic metal, and even black metal, but not exactly power metal is my taste of today. But I remember these days when I was in the beginning inside the power metal in the 90s in Greece. Someone that started to listen to power metal, he was to metal in generally, he was especially a power metal fan. So from Jerusalem and from Israel, stay metal and stay heavy.